All right, welcome to another episode of the Winter Moon Podcast. I'm David.
I'm Nathan.
And I'm Brian.
And welcome into the show, everyone. Today we got a couple of interesting topics. We've got a recap of our exhibition, which we sort of normally do. We sort of do this alternate weeks. We have an exhibition game, and then we have a little discussion about it on the show. And then we're going to get into the main part of the show later on, which is going to be about unit types and like their cohesiveness with one another. We're going to talk a little bit about action economy and what that means for your list in general, and the types of units that exist in the game that either need help or give help, or maybe don't need anything at all to do their stuff. So we're going to get into that a little bit later on. But for now, we had an exhibition between Nathan and John, who was not able to join us tonight. But we had a Yoda Commando Arc list, which was piloted by John, going into Nathan's Ahsoka double custom commander sniper spam. It was a 6 sniper triple ion interesting little thing. Swift Protector was played this time, although maybe we can talk about how
it didn't matter as much.
It didn't matter so much, and you can get into that in the nitty gritty. But we were as a group, we were a little bit divided going into the game about which one would dominate. There was this idea that, like, well, clones are vulnerable to snipers, especially clone commandos are vulnerable to snipers because shield and Katara can only take them so far against the plink damage. We had this idea that, like, the rebels were gonna smoke out these commandos. They were just gonna, like, blow them off the board. John was definitely very nervous about that. But it didn't quite turn out that way. It was actually quite different, and the table had a lot to do with it. And maybe Nathan, if you want to get into talking about this, maybe we can talk about the what actually happened, because I think in our theory crafting, we were kind of like not thinking so much about the terrain being such a factor as it was. I think we were thinking maybe the terrain was going to be a 10%, 15% factor. Turned out it was like a 50% factor in what we were doing.
It was a big deal. We ended up. It was rough. So, like Dave mentioned, just to quickly go over the list in a little bit more detail. John had Yoda with push, burst, mind trick. He had Bad Batch. He had 3 naked infantry. He had 2 arcs with medics, and he had 3 clone commandos, so 10 activations. I had a rebel officer with the proven tactician, so just kind of the courage 3, and then he had improvised, and then he just had like a thermal detonator as like in case someone runs up to me, just a 3-point little middle finger to throw at someone.
Oh yeah,
to punch him. I had an officer with frontline commander, so he had so he gets tactical, and he had the axe, which gives him charge, and then sorry, he didn't have the axe. He had the pistol. He had the pistol, which gives him arsenal, and then he also had a thermal detonator.
Pistol's my favorite upgrade for those guys.
It's quite good on the relentless or on the tactical.
I only run them with double pistols. Yeah,
it's hard to argue with that.
Yeah.
I had Ahsoka with push, burst, into the fray, and tenacity. 3 rebel troopers with ion guns and an extra dude, which I actually liked. The extra black and the extra body was pretty cool. And 3 full rebel commando units with snipers and transponders, and then 3 strike teams. That's 12 activations for me. Notably, like Dave said, 6 snipers. The idea was I wanted to try 6 snipers because I feel like commandos are underrated, and it's hard because they compete with Sleeper Cell, and Sleeper Cell is insane, but I thought they were maybe better than people thought. And I took the ion because without the ion, I had absolutely no ranged impact. This list still probably would not be great against armor, but I was like, with ion, at least there's something it can do against armor, and that helps a bit against droids, which snipers don't typically do as well into droids. So it's like 3 ion that that kind of hedges a little bit, but still gives decent oomph at range 3. So, yeah, the terrain was There was a lot of terrain, but it was flat and it was short. So it was taller, barely taller than a silhouette. There's kind of like these trenches that ran through. It was a Hoth map. And so if you're down on the ground, yeah, your LOS is going to be blocked by all this terrain. But if you're up at all, if you're up on one of the pieces, you can basically see the whole board. So it's very weird because we were both very scared of each other's long range. I was very scared of John's commandos. He was very scared of my snipers. And so the entire first round was this game of chicken. Nobody wanted to poke out. He didn't take any shots with his commandos, which is crazy. That almost never happens. I did not take shots with most of my snipers round one, which is crazy too. Like you're taking your strike teams, they're range 5. But it's just like neither of us had a way to get a shot without leaving the unit out such that the next person was just going to murder it, right? So we just
Yeah,
had
and strikes are particularly vulnerable. You got to be super careful.
Yes, right. If you leave your strikeout to take a shot, even if you hide one model, it's gonna live through 2 shots, right? Because it's gonna lose a dude every time. So yeah, it was a little crazy. The objective setup was also really rough. He got blue player, and that was in this situation it was really rough because he got an objective that was okay in a vacuum, which was close the pocket. But he had Yoda, which is you don't like playing close the pocket against Yoda,
Yeah.
and he got bring them to heal, which again, also I'm okay at in a vacuum because I have a ton of long range and I have 12 acts. But Yoda, it's like
Yeah.
both of the things were okay, and actually things that I had in my deck, but they were bad in the matchup. And so I didn't want to veto either of them because I knew there was a chance I would just pull the same thing from my deck. And he had table side. I think and he got intel. And he got intel. That was
So
it. He got
he had
intel
this
and he
crazy
got 2
turn 0
objectives.
draw.
So it was
That's the dream for every blue player is to pull
Yeah.
advanced intel as the opening show, because then you
Right.
put 3 cards out there that you want.
Right.
That's
It was
that's
just
the dream.
horrible.
Yeah.
Right. It was like 4 bad things. So what I ended up doing is I vetoed his intel and then I vetoed into my intel. If I had a guarantee that I could change the objective, or that I could, particularly the secondary, if I had a guarantee that I could change the secondary, I would have done so. But again, I had it in my deck, so even if I go to veto it, I knew there was a chance that I would just get the same thing again. So I ended up going into my intel. Maybe that was a mistake. But so we go into this game. I have intel and he doesn't, which is great because I'm already up on him 12 acts. But he gets table side in this really freaking weird table. And he has an objective that Yoda loves, and he has a secondary that Yoda loves. So that was sort of what was rough. So at the beginning, we were super, like I said, super scared of each other, playing chicken. The fact that I had more activations than him and advanced intel, and I played standing orders and he played luminous, meant that I think I got, gosh, 3 activations after him. Because normally
Yeah, it'd
you
have
get
been 3.
2, and then I got into so
Yeah,
I got
that's
3.
the
Yeah.
so you have the dream situation, but your terrain blocked so hard that it didn't really make a difference.
I was able to get some shots with those ones at the very end.
Right.
After everything else had gone, but I wasn't able to get any shots with anything that went earlier. 'Cause like normally what you would love to do with scout strike teams on that first round is you take your scout move, you shoot, and then you tuck, right? You
Mhm.
hide. Couldn't do it because there's no way for me to get a shot with a single move. So yeah, it was crazy. And I worked really hard to make sure he couldn't get anything with his commandos either off of deployment. So he
Yeah.
didn't get any shots on me with his commandos. At the end of the round, one of his commandos, he'd moved up kind of aggressively towards the middle. It was hidden, but it was such that once at the end of the round and once he didn't have any responses left, and I could take scout and then move and then shoot, I shot him with a couple full squads of scouts. and this ended up being a stroke of luck. I think I'd also maybe that one, because the commandos weren't the very last things to go out. I think maybe I peppered it a couple times, and he medicked it. Basically, the thing that ended up happening that was crazy is John had deployed such that his commando was at range 3 of Yoda, but not the unit leader. One of the models that was cohered off to the side was range 3 of Yoda. So with my 4th shot into the unit, I killed the second to last model, which meant the model that was range 3 of Yoda died, and then the commando gained 4th suppression. So I scored the panic objective on bring them to heal, which is normally
Oh,
extremely
Yeah.
hard to
Turn
do with
1.
Yoda.
Yeah.
And it was this thing that I had seen it earlier in the round, but I got my math mixed up on when the timing was gonna be, and I was gonna go, "Oh, that would be cool, but I don't think I'm gonna get that." So I was, like, thinking about, do I do this janky thing where I burst Ahsoka out behind this rock and force push it out into the open to make sure I can achieve this? And but I wasn't able to do it. It would have left Ahsoka too exposed. I'm like, "That's not a good trade." I'm like, "We're gonna have to figure out how I freaking score these 2 points because John basically gets it for free with
Yeah.
Yoda."
Even versus Courage 3,
Even versus Courage
because he's
3,
got the suppression
just
stack
you
that he can do
can't
with
do
Yoda.
that with the double mind trick. So, I was like, "Whatever," but then it ended up happening in play, and I realized I had incorrectly done the math, and it did die right when that model went out of range 3, and I was like, oh, this is actually happening," and we had to look it up, but yeah, that's the order of events. The models are removed, and then the suppression is applied. So, sort of I had thought about it, but I hadn't really planned it out. I got kinda lucky there, the way it worked out, ended up scoring that, which I desperately needed because he took VPs up on me fast. I took him story the rest of the game is I won pretty hard on attrition. Um, Wiped out his, his commandos, I don't think did it his commandos did 1 wound to me all
Mhm.
game, because there's not much they could do. No, I lied. There's one other attack. They did, like, 2 or 3 wounds to me.
Yeah, I think they had like
In
they had a
between.
shot with a range 2 guns at one point that did some more
Yeah,
wounds,
yeah,
but
he took out a chunk of a full scout squad, but half of it was absorbed by Ahsoka guarding in a dodge.
yeah, there was a
Um
Bad Batch shot that killed a full commando, like full to dead as
Yeah,
well.
Bad Batch was just a menace. Bad Batch did a ton of
Yeah,
stuff. I This was a huge mistake on my part. I forgot that Bad Batch becomes all their weapons gain suppressive on the round you play their 3 pep. So
yeah.
I totally messed up my bring the heal calculations, bringing
Dang.
it on that turn because I didn't realize it made all the weapons suppressive. I just
yeah,
forgot about that part of the card.
it's
And
there.
so I that was probably one of my mistakes. I tried to bring them to heal that round instead of going for as much attrition as I possibly could, and I ended up not getting bring them to heal anyway. So I should have just maxed out on attrition, because I think the middle went neutral round 2, but he won bring them to heal, and then the other rounds I won bring them to heal, but he won the middle. So it ended up, he ended up getting me on points, even though by the end of the game, I was way ahead on attrition. He had like 2 units left by the end of the game, or like
Yeah, it was like
2,
4.
but
It was
one was
like
on 1 health and was about to die if we had finished the
yeah,
round.
it was like 4 units left, but he was so far ahead on points, and then
Right, it
I
was it
mean,
was too far ahead on VPs, and my stuff was out of position.
can we just talk
I
about Yoda real quick? Because
Yeah,
Yoda was
he was
doing
a
stuff like
menace.
killing 2 activations a turn, you know?
He
Gosh.
was
It
doing
was
a
stuff
lot
like
of
that. He
stuff.
was ping-ponging around, just killing everything.
Yeah, suppressing things,
Yeah.
scoring, bring them to heal. Ahsoka ended up killing Yoda, which was pretty
Yeah,
cool.
that was
She
huge.
swung on him twice, one of which was on the 1 pip turn.
Yeah, she got
I
the 10
think
hit Jarkai and
Yep,
killed him.
because
Yeah.
she had tenacity, and she had tenacity, and she played the 1 pip, so she got the dodge from defense. She moved up to him, and we had talked. He'd already had 2 wounds. He had a dodge, and we said, if I full boat on average, he actually dies. And then I got 7 hits and then
Yeah,
had 3 dodges. So it's like,
yeah, so it's
okay,
like
I'm
jackpot.
full boating.
Yeah,
Yeah.
jackpot.
So I did kill Yoda on the last round, which was more of a moral victory. I had to, there's a lot of things that would have had to go my way. Although the other mistake I made too is I gotten him down to so few units that I actually could have scored on that last round.
Mm,
The two VPs where you get, but I just wasn't even thinking about it because usually when I play Bring Them to Heal, I'm not even thinking about the one where you get two VPs if you have every unit suppressed because it's so difficult. That was a massive mistake on my part to forget that because I absolutely could have gotten it because he had, I think, in the after Yoda went down, he had 4 units left, but 2 of them had like 1 health, and I still had several snipers. So it's like I could have killed those 2 units, and then the other 2 that were alive, I had enough dice to suppress them.
Right. So once every unit is suppressed, and that's possible to receive suppression
Right.
in the
I would
opponent's
have needed
army.
more than that. I ultimately would have needed to flip the middle, which I couldn't because I had my stuff was too spread out.
Hmm.
I got both. I would have gotten both flanks, but if I had positioned things more aggressively, I could have flipped the flank that he'd had all game. I could have flipped it around earlier if I'd had my snipers just about an inch closer than they were. I could have flipped his point around earlier. There were just a number of small things I did that we were talking about the game. I probably made like four for kind of like positioning slash counting mistakes. If I'd corrected like 2 of them, I probably could have won.
Yeah.
But that's what happens. John, I know he was worried about the matchup, but John played a really good game. John's really practiced with his list. He's played lots of different. I think that's exact configuration. I don't know how many times he's played, but
Well,
the list concept and all the pieces he's played a lot, and so he really knew what he was doing. He just didn't really make any big mistakes, and I made a few. So yeah, I think the list is good. Again, it's probably not, even though I had the triple ion in there, it's probably not strong enough against armor. That's still definitely probably a weakness, I would say.
you
I
said your triple ions. What source were they?
on the rebel trooper, like the
Oh, just
MPL,
NPLs.
yeah, and
Okay.
the MPL,
Mhm.
yeah.
Which I actually liked that. It's gosh, it's 70 something. It's like low to mid 70s.
Yeah, it's an expensive little
That
gun, but it
unit.
really does a lot for the unit.
It's 6 bodies with nimble, agile, and it's kind of a gnarly dice pool. It's
Yeah.
8
Five,
black
five
or
black, 2 red.
no,
MPL got
only
changed.
it's 2 black and a white now, but it's got
Oh, that's
critical.
right. That's
It's
right.
got critical 1.
Critical one's good though. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Oh yeah,
Really.
you want that for sure. You want offensive surging of some
Yeah,
type.
it's 7 black and a white critical 1. I think that's the pool. Like
Yeah.
That's okay. That's
that's
not bad.
that's pretty good for a 70-point core unit. But and then you add in impact and ion. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
74, it's a
good.
pretty decent buy if you have things to keep them unsuppressed.
Right. Well, and here's the thing, right? In a few months ago, I never would have run that because it's courage 1.
Hmm.
But now I had these 2 commanders, one of which was courage 3 and the other one which could give you dauntless.
Yep.
Yep.
Range 1. So now you're really not that worried about suppression because if you're suppressed, you can dauntless to get your move, but you're also not as worried about panic because you got a courage 3 commander.
Makes me a little sad, because, and this is theoretical. I have no insider baseball information on this. It makes me a little sad because I was hoping that this level of help for the Rebel Corps would come from like a Saw Gerrera figure.
Ooh, that'd be cool.
But he would be the only
Yeah.
rebel that could get compel or something. But they probably have
Ruthless.
different designs for him. He could probably be a mercenary raider faction type thing with like rebel like partisans or something.
Oh.
Jeddah
Oh,
partisans.
yeah. Yeah,
Get a
I could
hold.
absolutely see him being
He could be they would probably reserve him for battle force. Is just my speculation. Would be
I'd
like
like to
a
see
Jeddah partisan
ruthless on
battle
him.
force. Me too. 100%. Ruthless fits him to a T.
I would. I would.
He
I
is
would
totally
run.
willing to
I would
sacrifice
run
his own
super
dudes to
fleets
accomplish.
with Saw Gerrera ruthless so fast.
Yeah.
Could we
Oh,
see the
yeah.
first commander that has ruthless and compel? Because like Saw Gerrera, like come on,
Well, I
he
can
would have
speculate.
both.
Again, pure speculation. No, this is just a speculation on my part. Maybe this is why they axed Pathfinders because we're gonna get a battle force in the future with Saw in it. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. I mean, Yeah, I'd still love to see the people like Biston and Pow, and I'd love maybe they're planning on doing like a what is it, a Rogue One Battle Force and releasing all those guys.
God, I
I would
hope
love to
so.
see that.
They do a re-release with a Rogue One Battle Force in mind. That would be amazing. I would
That'd
love
be
that.
great.
That would earn my money for sure.
Yeah.
So just to wind this back to the game,
Sorry.
you're good. It's my fault. I took us down this rabbit hole. But we're gonna come back out. And we're gonna go back to the recap a little bit. And like, I just as we were talking about it, I just thought, it, do any two units in the game, Bad Batch and Yoda specifically, have tighter synergy to the objectives than these two units? Like they have extremely tight synergy to a lot of objectives. Close the pocket, bring them to heal. What's the other one that I'm thinking of? The not close. Bunker assault. Um, they have all kinds of crazy stuff that they can do as a pair and individually.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking, I keep thinking to myself, whenever I go to build a list, right? I'm thinking like, how close can I get to an objective deck that I can run with zero friction? Like I want there to be zero friction between the three battle cards, three primaries and secondaries I choose, and my force composition. I want there to be no friction there. And I feel like Yoda accomplishes that really, really like profoundly, because he's got the suppression tricks, because he's got the double force push with the one pip, because he can just attack twice a turn no matter what. Ataru's on all the time. He juices your economy with Luminous on turn 2 or turn 1. He's just so multifaceted and powerful, and I'm not calling for any kind of adjustment. I'm just saying that Yoda exists, and it's like, is it wrong not to play Yoda, considering just how tight he is with the objective deck? And like, can Anakin say the same? Like, tempted is an opponent's choice effect.
It is,
You
but
know, but it's so good, right? Like, it's crazy.
so good.
It's like a third attack sometimes, which is kind of wild.
I've actually been giving Anakin. I put a list in our private Discord today, actually, which as you two saw. But I've been giving Anakin another look. I think he's maybe he's sort of fallen out. And I understand, once you give him upgrades, he's 20 points more than Yoda is. And as you're saying, Yoda's amazing.
Mhm.
His objective play in particular is very good, but Anakin's still a blender, man. Like,
Yeah, he can roast people.
It's kind of blown my mind that Anakin's fallen off. Like, it was weird to me that he started to fall off. I'm just like, did you guys stop playing him? Like, what happened? Because you certainly weren't losing with him,
right?
Like, I think Anakin is so good. And then I don't know. I think Yoda brings such a different mindset to a Gar list than Anakin does. Anakin's there to murder everything.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan is the exact opposite, and Yoda is kind of like, I'm just going to move around and cause you problems with your POIs, and I love that too. And I think it's a really cool blend that you can have those three guys in different lists, and actually you can have those three guys in the same with the same surrounding lists, and have those lists perform three completely different ways, which is fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a good observation.
Anakin kicks you in the balls. Yoda subtly kicks you in the balls. Like, that's the primary difference, I think, between the two.
He smacks you on the shin.
It's a much more subtle kick in the balls, but it hurts just as bad.
Yeah. In terms of synergy, though, like when you're talking about like what other units synergize, I was trying to think in my mind like what units synergize that well, like that tightly, like Yoda and Bad Batch do. And I think there's only a couple that, I mean, obviously I'm a Rebel player, so the ones that come to mind are Rebels. So, but I would say Sabine and Ahsoka they are really cohesive in terms of their objective or their command cards. They don't overlap. They work really well together. I would also say Han and Lando are just they're a match made in heaven.
Han and Lando,
so good.
Yeah, such a good combo.
Which is so good for flavor. They
Yes.
should work together really
should,
well, and they
yeah.
do.
Yeah.
Even though they're not the best of friends all the time, they're still like pretty awesome.
Yeah, just running them in the table is so much fun. I had in the open was blast. Like those guys, those two guys together with some mega fleets feels fantastic.
Yeah. I will say you've opened my eyes a bit on Rebel Ahsoka, so I definitely was.
Right.
I was down on her quite a bit, but I think I've seen the light. Even though she doesn't have any sort of Master of the Force, she doesn't really need it to be good.
No, the thing is, she comes in with after you give her, here's the thing, force push and burst and tenacity into the fray. She comes in only a little bit higher than the base cost of a lot of these other guys that we talk about. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Okay. She's dirt cheap. So she's not as strong as Anakin or Yoda or Op Luke or Op Vader, right? Or any of these people, but she's an entire unit cheaper.
Yeah.
And so I'm a huge fan of Rebel Ahsoka, and I in particular, and I'm not saying it would be wrong to run her skinnier, cut push, just slap like burst, tenacity, and I don't know, maybe some other power on there, mind trick or something.
Maybe reflexes for the extra.
Yeah, there you go. Reflexes, right?
Because it's a hit on demand at that point. So
yeah, pretty solid.
yeah.
Or if you have to use your defend dodge to get a hit and she's in a vulnerable position, sure, get a free dodge, right?
Yeah.
But I as like an actual focus piece, like with force push, she's fantastic. I mean, she gets a free recover. It's not as good as actual Master of the Force, but she has a free recover action. So if you ever really in a bind, you're going to need force push that round, and you're going to need a bunch of actions. You play that card, and it's a great card outside of that effect because it gives two other units a token of your choice, a dodge or a name, and it gives her another dodge when she already gets one from defend.
Yeah, 115 base is super convincing, especially on a character that surges crit.
Yeah.
And has a decent pool and can expand the pool when necessary, and also like has a setup to trigger tenacity installed already with Swift Protector. So like there's a lot of like what do you say? You're getting a lot for what you put for what you're buying. So
like we had that sequence at the end where she attacked Yoda near the end of round 4 and then attacked him again at the top of round 5 and she killed him.
Yeah, she just straight up killed him.
And obviously her getting 7 out of 10 on the 1 pip and then being able to dodge all the through up to 10, that's not typical, right? You don't average 7 hits on that pool. But killing Yoda with those 2 attacks with all her dodges that she has, and it's like it's actually not that crazy, right? Her offense is very consistent.
Yeah,
with Jarkai and with the number of dodges that she gets.
As long as you can keep her ordered and moving,
which obviously, right? That's like a given.
Right,
you're gonna have orders on her, right? Because she's your focus piece. But yeah, she's like she doesn't, like her 1 pip is not as flashy as some of the others. It's not like implacable, right? She does, it's not like you serve your master well, right? But it is a nice boost to her offense. And she's just consistent on the rounds, which I think is a huge boon in Rebels, where you have all these characters that all want their cards. Sometimes taking off Luke, even if you're a bit cheaper, you take off Luke and you're like, man, whose cards am I going to cut? Ahsoka?
No.
You can take her 1 pip and her 3 pip. Her 2 pip's great, but you really don't have to take it if you haven't like built a list around it. It doesn't always do that much, as we saw in the game I played against John. Right, it's cool to have. Like you can take your 1 pip and her 3 pip and call it a day. She's just on the turns where she's not playing her cards. She's still very consistent.
Yeah, you don't have to include Swift Protector if you don't want it, but
right, it's very good. Like
it's a very good card.
It would beat out a lot of 2 pips, and for me,
for power in terms of power, yeah.
Right, but if there's it's not like she needs Swift Protector to feel like you're getting your money's worth out of her. Like she's just if you play Assault on her and she just gets an order, like you're going to get good stuff out of her that round. She's very unfortunately, as much as I love Op Luke, as much as like Brian, you love Op Luke, John loves Op Luke too. Dave, I don't know how much you've played Luke, but
I've played Luke a lot. I played
Okay,
both versions,
so
and
there you go. So
I think
you
he is stunning. But if you play him right now, it's a brave choice because of his cost currently.
He's greedy. You got if you're gonna play Luke, you
Yeah.
want only Luke. You don't want anybody else.
Yeah,
right.
he's order greedy. You're buying the full command hand when you take him generally,
Mhm.
and
Yeah,
you're
it feels
buying
bad taking him with other characters and his offense if you don't have buses to charge him with aims or something. I know Brian likes
right.
to do that, but if you're not
Officer.
Brian
Hmm.
or your officer,
New
right? If you
officer,
don't have,
yeah.
yeah, that's true. You can take him with frontline commander and just do it that way, which is sweet. If you're not taking the additional investment on top of his massive point cost to charge him full of aims, his lightsaber swings are not consistent.
Yeah, and his
Sometimes you're going to get hit 6 out of 7, and you're like, awesome.
and what I consider far and away his best card also turns off his attack. So you have to like somehow create you have to create a situation where you're getting more than the value of his attack that turn.
Yeah, which is not hard.
It's not hard to do, but it's
Not hard to
still
get
like
value from that, but
it's
yeah.
still one of those like it's a choice. I'm going to play without my attack this turn
Right.
and see if I can profit. It's the
Yeah,
risk you
I mean,
take.
you just got to change your mindset a little bit. Like I think one thing is, I think a lot of people play Luke like they think he's Anakin,
Yeah, I think he's just a
and,
big
and
beast stick.
he's not.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
so if you go in understanding that, then he's an area denial piece, and he's fantastic at
Mhm.
it.
Yeah.
And if you
What
want to kill
happens?
something, he will delete something. He'll delete stuff, but it is very
Yeah.
precise. It's very precision kills. It's not I'm going to kill everything I swing at kind of thing.
Right. I was gonna say who happens to be able to manifest 16 dice in a turn, but that's like one turn, and you have to have a really good target for it, and it's very risky, right, to try to do the Son of Skywalker thing
Right.
Yeah.
because you could just completely flop.
Because that's I'm gonna say that is the thing with Son of Skywalker.
Mm-hmm.
I bet I played Op Luke probably I played him a fair number of times. I probably played him the least out of the 4 of us. But even I have had multiple times where you're in with the 5-man unit and you're like, I really got to kill it. So you play Son of Skywalker, and with the 2 attacks, you get 4 hits.
Yeah, you get 4 hits because
It feels so bad.
yeah.
Like it happens. It happens on
So
that dice pool. But Ahsoka with having Jarkai and getting dodges, you just manufacture the hits.
Yeah.
yeah, the
know?
game doesn't seem to reward high ceilings as much as it used to, at least with characters. I'm noticing.
Depends.
Like the trend seems to be smaller dice pools, higher levels of lethal, different rainbow color in the pool. So like for example, you're seeing less of all one color and more like gradient, color pools. And the reason you're seeing gradient color pools is because you're adjusting the consistency. That's how you adjust the consistency or sort of the floor of the pool
Mhm.
is by making some dice at the top of the pool red and some dice at the bottom of the pool white. Like that's kind of what you're doing with that, and that's something that's a little bit overlooked from a design perspective. Is like this is why these pools are the way they are. On the more monocolor the pool is, the more swingy it gets. 10 usually 10 tends to get swingier unless it's all red, but
Or it's all white. It gets
or it's all white. Yeah, then it's like
right? It
not
gets
swingy at all.
consistently blank, right?
Yeah, you'll consistently blank. Exactly.
Yeah,
If it's mono black, then you're like, ugh, this is like I compare it to a weapon in an RPG that has a damage range of 1 to 40. Because like this could either do 1 or it could do 40, and you don't know what's happening. You're praying to RNG to get your 40 when you hit something. Generally speaking.
Yeah, but it's like I mean, the customizable officer that does the aid
Mm-hmm.
is so good, good in so many armies, and he opens up a lot of stuff.
Yeah, if you got him double moving at the top of a round and he charges Luke with a couple aims, and then at the end of the round he jumps in and does Son of Skywalker, it's like, yeah, that'll mess something up.
We could take
Or
a
you
minute
have
to talk about this
him
too.
with offensive push, and you move once and recover.
Yeah.
And aid both of them, and then you take both of your suppressions off.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, because you can tactical 2 aid. Nice. Love that. That's a cool little combo.
You don't have to sit with it's extra 6 points to the same number of tokens, but you don't have to accumulate all that suppression.
No, I think that's a worthwhile discussion to have, though, because a lot of this times that I'm noticing is it's the sequencing that's the problem, right?
Yeah,
In much
and
the same way as your buses need to go first, the officers need to go first.
yeah, and it's so the key is you have to think about it. So the only time that's really going to be worth it, in my opinion, is if you're running a list that likes bring them to heel, because you want to make sure that you keep those suppressions off, that they don't stack quick, right? But he is indomitable, so generally it's if you're not running a list that likes bring them heel, then you probably want to leave the offensive push at home, because it's likely he gets those off. But yeah.
if he's off near the edge of the field on a point by himself, it gets easier to get him panicked, and then maybe
Exactly.
he's not contesting his POI.
Right.
So even if you're not playing bring them to heel, that's still that's like a nice option.
Yeah.
Have if you're playing a list and you're consistently finding that the suppression from aid is giving you a headache. That's like a 6-point fix.
I also want to think more generally about just the sequence of orders and activations, because it's like this was the same problem that we had back in the olden times when we ran Leia alongside Commander Luke, and it was like, how do I get value out of this? Because she's never going first, and because I have Luke ordered and I can't get an order on her ever. So I'm at the mercy of the bag that she'll come out and do her token thing and his inspiration and all that stuff. Same with these customs, they have the same issue, which is how do I get my aid tokens out before anything else and maximize my value there? And that's kind of where I'm headed with this, is like, how do I do that? And I can invest in that a little bit. And like, I've seen some tricky stuff where it's like, oh, I have, in Tempest, you can put the onboard comms on an ATST, and you can direct vehicle off of Marquand onto the onboard comms onto the officer. So you can like do this little spin thing where you're always directing the officer to give you your aid first, or give you strategize first in Exemplar. I don't think that works in many other lists. A lot of people don't have direct vehicle unless you have, I don't know who else. Well, Veers doesn't even have it, does he? That's kind of weird.
Guidance vehicle.
His guidance vehicle doesn't have direct vehicle.
Much better, but
it's better, but it's different. It's not good for this particular application, right? But yeah, I mean, like, how do you guys address it? Do you just have to leave it to chance? Is that just what is the case, or
you mean
how do we address
getting orders on your officers?
Yeah, because that's
like that, or orders on your support commander and support unit in general.
Any support commander. It applies to any support commander, but the customs are the support of the moment.
Right.
In the game's life right now, they're like the big focus because they're new and fancy and shiny, and like I want to incorporate these. And some of them are just downright efficient.
Yeah,
like especially the Dauntless Bubble guy. I think that's crazy good.
Yeah. So my aid guy, I run Seize Initiative on him as well. Just because there's times that I need him to go early, and so usually it's pretty much only once a game that I need him to go like earlier, and it's usually when I'm running a 1-pip. And to be honest, having him seize on Luke's Son of Skywalker and going with that commander and giving Luke a couple of aims before that Son of Skywalker turn is pretty baller.
Okay.
Or like if I need to get an aim to a sleeper cell or something else, like it's pretty decent.
So Seize is like a big trick there.
It's actually one I use a lot too in Empire. I consider it kind of a luxury upgrade. It's one of the first.
It is luxury.
It's one of the first things I cut if I'm tight on points.
Yeah,
happens a lot because I'm really trying to push activation count these days. But if I have the points, I really like Storm Super Squads in Empire right now. That's like an example of if you can recharge those guys with aims from the officer, they hit hard. But you like slap scopes on there, like a T-21. You run tip of the spear. What's great about Seize on the Empire officers is it's double dipping, because if you give them the blaster, they get target 1.
Yeah.
So Seize is not only giving you order them for the timing, it's also giving you an extra aim in the first place. So I love. I mean, tip of the spear agent, you got to give him the gun because that relentless gun is way too good. But then you give him Seize on top of that, and now he just gets an extra aim that he can bounce to your super squad. So he can give him, and he gives him an order, which is
right.
It's so good, right? You play like, and so it's another thing is that's great for the timing too, is if you want your thing to go before you have a chance to charge it up. Just popping it in aim at the top of the round is pretty nice. That's like a good alternative if you really need that super squad to go, right? The first thing, right? You play a 1 pip, you use the command and control uplink to make it a 0 pip. You have your 2 officers, right? One is the academy trained with the blaster, one's a tip agent with the blaster. They both pop Cs, right? One of them aids the aim to the squad, the other one has an aim from an exemplar, and like at the top of the round, your super squad goes and it has 2 aims off a 0 pip. And then heaven help your opponent if you've also got platoon squad leader that has retinue on the
That's
super
retinue
squad.
on it.
Now
Yeah.
it's attacking with 3 aims at the top of the round off a 0 pip. It's like, oh,
So
I
you're
love
just
it.
aim. It's like aim city, and it's also it's high tempo. Like you have 0 lag between issuing the order
Right.
and activating the unit with the aims in question.
Mm-hmm.
There's no lag.
Getting aims at the top of a round is huge. It's a huge
Yeah,
deal.
it's stunningly good. Like
Yeah.
it will shock your opponent when they see it happen for the first time. They will be like, "Wow, that's really cool," and you're like, "Yeah, and I'm gonna fry you with it."
Should we didn't plan this, but we've sort of landed on a pretty natural segue into our topic. Should we
Yeah,
jump
sure.
in?
Yeah, let's go.
Should we
Let's
jump
go.
in?
Yeah.
So what we had discussed about this, let me share the impetus for this because I think it's instructive.
Sure.
We were talking in our Discord chat today about whether we like the idea of Echo and a marksman squad, and there are a few different like valid points made. Something that I wanted to share about the reason why I would not consider it a list right now is the following. Brian had pointed out that it's very aim hungry because Echo needs an aim to use his lethal, and the squad needs an aim to use their long shot. And it doesn't generate any aims by itself. It's not like an ARF with Echo where you can have Padme give it like strike team leader, right? To give it has no aims naturally. So you're having to invest points to give it aims through some other method. And so I don't, that's something that I don't really like about that unit because maybe you're going to be able to get it the aims it needs 1 round or 2, but every round it's kind of rough. And if you're paying all those points for that, you kind of want to have the option to throw that whole pool at range 4 if you want to. So this sort of led us into like sort of this broader thinking of, when you're building a list, you have some units that don't need any support. Something like Bad Batch. They just go off and they do their thing and they don't really care what the rest of your list is. They're going to do their thing. You have units that do cool things. Like an example I think of, let's take like a Storm Super Squad, for example. It's really cool. It's not that good if it doesn't have aims, though. It's just 13 white dice. I'm talking about the T21 Storm Super Squad, to be clear.
Yeah.
It's not that good if it doesn't have aims. If it has aims, very good. Very good, right? And then you have other units like, again, like I would probably put Tip of the Spear in this, even though he can shoot and it's kind of cool. I would put him in this camp of he's providing things. Maybe Krennic is a more concrete example. Krennic, right? He's providing tools for other units, but he's not actually doing anything cool on his own.
Kalani.
Kalani. Yep, another great one.
Kalani was a very good example of this. Yeah.
When you're building a list, I think an important tool to have in mind, important framework, is you want to be thinking about each of your units, and you want to be thinking, okay, is this something that's operating well on its own? If not, what support does it need to do what it's doing? And you want to look at your entire list and say, am I providing enough support with my other units that all my things that need support can do what they're doing? That's sort of like, I guess, maybe the thing I want to throw out for discussion. So I don't know. How were some ways that you guys approach thinking about this? What are some pitfalls that you maybe run into that people should avoid? And what are some ways to make that work? Making sure that your army has the right balance of things that work on their own, things that need support, things that give support to do the cool things.
Yeah.
I think it depends on what you want to do with your list. And so like there's times where I list build and I'm just like, I just want to do this cool thing. I just want to go all in on this one cool idea, and the rest of it doesn't matter because I want to try this out, right? And if you want to just try out a cool idea, and then maybe balance isn't that's not the most important thing for you. What we're specifically talking about here is we're talking about list building with a balanced list that will allow you to compete at a high level in any tournament. And there's I love running gimmick stuff, but a gimmick kind of thing is not going to get me super deep into a massive tournament most of the time. And so we're talking about how to be carefully balanced in your list building, and that's specifically what we're considering here.
Yeah, although I don't want to completely devalue what you just said, because sometimes the way that you find the new competitive thing is you start with the gimmick list.
Oh yeah,
You find out,
absolutely.
right, that you kind of do a gimmick thing and you go, oh, part of this actually worked really well.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think maybe the litmus test is this thing that we're talking about of, okay, here's the gimmick. It has these components to it. These parts require the entire rest of the list to service this to work. That's probably not good, right? Because right, if you need 7 units supporting your 1 unit to do something really cool, it doesn't matter how cool that thing is, it's probably not right. If I build my whole list right, I've got a storm super squad and I've got 5 other core that all have binocs, and the whole thing is right, I'm throwing these, okay, that's gonna be fun and it's gonna be cool when it works, but that's actually probably not like a great.
Well, I have a perfect example of this that was sort of like when I built it, it was kind of like off in that way that you just described, where it's like I have too many points servicing this gimmick. And then it was like, oh, if I just move the dial a little bit. And that example is Mandalorian super commanders with buses and stems.
Oh,
Because
okay.
it was like, okay, well, I got transponders, I got stems, I got rockets, I got the marksman, and I got buses.
Mhm.
It's like, well, the buses are 70 points. And what do? They heal once and die to land speeders or aquas. Didn't seem very good. And then it was like, okay, well, I got stems. Well, this is really cool, but across 3 or 4 units, that's 32 points. That's a lot of points. That's like a half of a squad or 3/4 of a Vigo or something, you know. And so it eventually I cut it down. It's like to a level you kind of like slice it down to a level where like the economy is right. So, for example, in my case, I determined that um, super commandos had like a few power spikes, and like the biggest thing for them was transponder, because you get the precise heavy weapon, the marksman. You combine that with the transponder, you have an aim from independent already. It's like having 3 aims. You just spend transponder and you spin up, 6 rerolls, and you're feeling pretty good about life. And you're not paying that much for it. You're paying like, I think it's what, like 102, which is very fair for what the unit can do, because it's got speed 3, jump, it's got defend, it's got red saves with surge. It's got a lot of stuff going for it. It's good on its own. In fact, it didn't need much help. It just needed transponder, maybe another couple of mana squads around it to sort of make that wolf pack work. Where it's like, if I have a bunch of threat in an area, then the units get stronger if they have people in an area. Same goes with swoops, right? Swoops are very independent. They have no need of outside help to do their thing. They're completely fine on their own, especially when you give them strike and fade. They're just fine. And that's kind of the case with Shadow, is that they're sort of made to be the independent army. Like, how do we, like, every unit is kind of functional on its own, but they play off each other at like the macro level, which is like, we're all fast, or we're all fairly durable, or we're all like, we'll have a common theme together, or we all synergize with Maul in some way. Maul boosts us in some way, or our speed, it lets us capture things that we couldn't otherwise capture, or Maul can force push things towards us, and then we wreck them because force push is super powerful for us. But it's all kind of in the same vein, where it's like I started with a gimmick because I was like, oh man, how crazy is like the zombie Mandalorian thing? Because it was like Brian inspired this, because like how do I stack as many medics, E-stems, dodges, all the defensive tech? And then it was like, okay, this is probably too much because I'm losing things too quickly. or the ecosystem around it is not contributing to the list enough to justify its presence on the table. It's not doing damage. It's not doing enough to affect the outcome of the game to be worthy of the table at this point. And so that's kind of like how I made that adjustment when I was preparing for LVO. And sort of it's weird because it's not the best army to sort of demonstrate the concept you're saying, Nathan, because it doesn't really do basically half of what the other armies do in terms of like supporting each other and like having like, what do you call it, having unit to unit synergy necessarily.
Sure.
The synergy in Shadow Collective is not unit to unit. It's like at a full list level where it's like, well, I've got 6 units that all have speed 3 and free attacks or high mobility in some way.
Right.
Or I've got units that are strong enough on their own to 1v1 anybody in the game. I'm thinking Black Sun Magdets with Vigos. 1-on-1, they can blow up just about any other unit in the game. They can win that fight because they're so powerful if they get in. And Maul gives them that synergy with Cunning because it's like, I have the initiative now. I fight first. You can't avoid this if I play it in the right circumstance. So in that sense, there's synergy. There's direct synergy there. But for other people, for the rest of the list, it's like, we're fast and we'll just do whatever we need to do to get wherever we need to go and win fights on our own because we're strong enough to do that.
So can I parse out something that
go ahead.
you're saying?
Yeah.
So you had Mandos and you were playing them initially in such a way that you wanted to keep them alive.
Mm-hmm.
You invested all these points in E-stems.
Yep.
You invested points in these buses. You invested
Bus
points
medic.
in medics.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you want to run them that way, they require a lot of support.
Yes.
And so then you have to provide that support. And that ends up being a lot of points. I mean, 32 points on E-stems, 60, 5 points per bus. That's 162. And then the medics are 12 each. So you're looking almost 200 points.
Right. It was like 20% of the list is like wrapped up in support.
Right. Enable this playstyle.
Which was way too much.
What you did instead is you built them differently. You built them out for alpha strikes instead of durability. And then they didn't need support anymore. They could do their thing on their own. And so you didn't need to invest points elsewhere because you had them built to do something different.
Right.
I think that's a really good skill in list building is to think, can I tweak what this unit is doing, or can I tweak how is it doing that such that I don't need to invest all these points in support units elsewhere to get this to do its job.
Right. There's a whenever I build lists, I always think there's a nexus, right? There's a nexus between how much I'm paying for a unit and how much I expect to get out of it. And that's we're always looking for efficiencies at this juncture, right? We're looking for efficiencies. So there's an efficiency at a certain points level when you have X amount of stuff being bought by those points. There's always going to be a level that it becomes very efficient. Like Ahsoka is a great example because I'm getting a ton of stuff for 115 base. And I'm also getting a force push that's also a pretty nice, thumb in my opponent's eye when I need it, for 170 or whatever, like something really low. Like if I can get all this for less than 20% of my list, it's like, I'll take it. Sure. Goodbye. Same with Bad Batch, right? 160 for all this. That's a great buy. I'll take that,
And it doesn't need support. That's the thing. Ahsoka does not need. She needs orders. That's the only thing.
Yeah, she just needs orders. So she's a little selfish that way, but otherwise, who cares?
Well, and if you really have to, you can drop one of her trainings for Seize the Initiative. She doesn't need tenacity or Into the Fray to feel good. I really recommend having both of those on. But like you can drop one of them and she still feels totally fine if you need to get Seize. If you have another character, if you have say Han in the list and he's got his 0 pip, or Sabine, right? She got her 1 pip, right? Just slap Seize on Ahsoka, problem solved.
Right, and I don't mean to like be obvious with the people who are listening when I say take efficient units. You have to be able to determine what is efficient, right? And so like, Ahsoka could be great in one list, but not great buying a different list. There's different like levels and placements and things like that are all kind of dependent on the universe that she's in. When I say universe, I mean like whatever the rest of the list she's plugged into looks like. So there's like some lists where Yoda doesn't plug in. There's some lists where Obi-Wan doesn't plug in. There's some lists where like the the Jedi General doesn't plug in, and you have to be able to sort of identify those sort of like each unit's kind of place in the universe, so to speak, and before you consider its efficiency, just raw like mathematical. I'm paying less than 120 for this package. See, like units like Asajj, for example. Like Asajj doesn't fit in every single CIS list, although she is a good contender because she has a mathematical efficiency. She's not a great fit for every list you assemble.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. I think it's interesting. The way that I think about units and things, I feel like you can juice stuff that is not efficient. Like we're talking about like spending a lot of points to make something that's not very good better, right? And I like doing that. I like taking something that's not great and surrounding it with stuff to make it a lot better. And I know that I've got a lot of friends that are great Legion players that are like, well, that means it's a bad unit. And from their point of view, I think they're completely right. But at the same time, like if I can juice this thing up to where it's going to be really good, then I can make it good. Like I mean, if there's enough stuff in Legion, there's enough units, enough support around a unit that where I make it good. And yeah, I'm sure I'm spending a lot to go into that unit, but I don't know if you can make it successful, then to me, like I don't care what everyone else thinks of it. They think it's bad. Like I'm gonna
Right.
make it.
It's like you have to give your units a specific job, right? Like they have to have they have to fit into the overall plan somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Like even if it's an FD turret, for example.
Yeah.
People hate on FD turrets because they're stationary, and that's okay. If your list can handle that, that's fine that they're stationary.
Yeah.
It depends on the universe they're entering into, which is how are they supported by other units, and those other units are saying we'll take care of the capturing, we'll take care of the moving. You guys sit back and you do damage, you threaten the entire board, and you take standby if necessary. And it's probably not necessary because there's generally order control for the FDs and generally uplinks and things like that avoid that you can use to avoid having to take a standby at all. But I guess my point is like some units can just be a total drag. Like for example, my medic buses in my shadow list, they were a total drag because I had no plan for them beyond just tail Mandos and heal them, and maybe sit on an objective, and that was the extent of my plan. Not a very well thought out plan, admittedly.
Right.
So one has to ask themselves like, what is the what is the overarching game here? Like what's my overarching plan here, and how does this fit? And if it so happens that it juices another unit and it does it without detracting from its efficiency, then by all means, go for it.
Yeah, I think you got to like look at the whole picture together. Yeah, and for the record, to make sure I'm not I use Dave's example with the buses and the Mandos because I think that's a completely valid way to think about it. I don't want to sound like I'm discounting the strategy that Brian's talking about, which is you absolutely can invest a lot of points into support and you can unlock something really crazy. As long as the output at the end of the day justifies everything that went into it.
Yeah.
Right. That's the trick. And so I think that's like sort of the equation you need to be thinking about. So like I used like a silly example of a stormtrooper super squad that had 5 other core units that all had binocs. Like, okay, that would be cool. That's a lot of points.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of actions. That's even though it would be cool to have your stormtrooper super squad fly out with 5 aims and shoot somebody. It's like that's probably, you could probably get an output that is that strong or multiple outputs that are half that strong for less points.
Yeah.
And for less actions on the table, which is another point, right? We're talking about point costs. You also got to think about, like actions, how much, you only have so many actions per game. and what are you using for those? So if you have some crazy wombo combo, if you've got some some gimmick with a transport that's bringing out some squad that has a bunch of souped up upgrades that like drops a nuke on round one, that's a lot of points. But if you can pretty consistently get that off, and if it's a strong enough nuke, like go for it, man.
Yeah.
Like that can totally
Remember,
be worth it.
remember pre Bad Batch. I remember, Brian, you had this crazy list pre Bad Batch with ARC troopers with recon intel and Yoda because they had Scout 3 at that
Yeah.
point.
It's
And it
snipers.
was Scout 3 move shoot, but it was
Yeah.
Yoda juicing them. And it was like, as
They were
long as I
six-
get to the
6
right
man.
spot, this
Yeah.
8 points I spent on recon intel is completely worth it because I shot things I couldn't otherwise have shot, you know?
Well, I think Bad Batch was in the game. The thing was, it still had battle meditation. That was the thing.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Because you
Okay.
could order both arcs.
Right.
Yeah, that's a
That
lot of points into that combo, but you can reap
Mm-hmm.
appropriate rewards from it.
Right. You can, as long as you can pull back a reward from it.
Yeah.
There's also like something to be said for this stuff when we talk about combinations and we talk about like support systems and things like that. There's also like a timing issue that comes up because it's like we were talking about this earlier. Was like, how do I get orders to my officers for this combo to work?
Yeah.
It's another reason I like transponder because it's like this is frictionless. There's zero friction. If I want an aim, I got it.
Yeah.
I don't have to try. I don't have to do anything. I just have to activate.
Yeah.
Once
Yeah,
per game, I just get it, and it's like, sweet. I love that. I'll happily pay 4 points for that.
Exactly.
And I don't
Yeah.
have to, and no more must be thought. You know, I just have to just claim it, and that's it. And so,
Yeah.
you know, there's all this other stuff that requires like, oh shit, I gotta order this right, I gotta time this right, I gotta activate the right sequence, and it's like you have to like think about how much you're devoting to, how much mental load this is to sequence it correctly, and how much time it takes to wind the combo up, versus like easy stuff like transponder where I don't have to think at all, and it's like a really high return for almost no effort.
Mm-hmm.
You know. So that's just another angle to sort of throw in there for people who are building their stuff out.
Yeah, like for another example is so I've been playing around with FDs just because I want to, and I want to see if I could get them to a spot where they're decent. And I like running them with HQs, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so a couple of FDs with HQs supported by your aim officer or your officer that can aid aims.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden those FDs you have order control on them. It like before, like it feels really bad to like have an FD take a standby. I'd much rather just use them at the end of the round where they're both going to get 2 shots onto something on a POI. And so and with aims and recovers and being able to do that every round that's pretty solid. Now all of a sudden this unit that was terrible, because I'm going last with them, because I have order control with them, I can ensure that I get that support that I want every round with that officer.
And do you have dug in on them as well?
Yeah, I do.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's really nice.
So audience, look at all that synergy that Brian just shared with us, right? You've got dug in, you've got HQ, and you've got a great thing. You've got a generator recover, right? So not only am I recovering 2 for 1, I am red cover all the time because I'm going last, and I'm order control all the time. Now I'm paying like 18 for whatever for that, right? Because it's 3 for it's like 19. It's 3 for the generator, 6 for dug in, 10 for the uplink. So I'm paying 19 points per FD.
Yeah. So
yeah,
right.
but that changes the unit from like kind of mid to like, oh, this is a freaking problem over 5 rounds. Like I'm gonna have to figure out a way to cope with like this damage that's coming at me.
And good luck when it's rolling red safe
and
cover.
good luck when it's rolling red cover. Like trying to stop it,
Actually, I've got news for you guys. Every time that I've tried to roll cover with dug in, I blank out, man.
You need to fire those red dice.
So if you want the secret to beating my FDs, just shoot at them.
Just shoot them. Okay, yeah, fair. Red cover is not as amazing as it sounds, but it's pretty good.
It is good.
It's pretty good.
It's good.
Yeah, I think what's cool about that, I mean, David just outlined it, but it's like if the FD just had any one of those things, It'd kind of be like if you just had an FD with HQ uplink, it's like, well, this wouldn't be great. I'm spending
Mhm.
10 points and recovering. If it has just the generator, I mean, the generator's pretty cheap, but it's still kind of like that's missing some move. If you just had dug in, it's like, wow, it's not even triggering half the time because I'm going to the
Right.
beginning. But it's like when you get all three, it's like, oh, they're getting more value
Right.
when they come together.
Right. It's
Right,
this,
and so that's the kind of things that you're looking for. You wanna avoid the things that are the opposite. That's
mhm,
like, "Oh, the more I invest, I'm getting a diminishing return." That's w
right,
that's what you want to avoid.
which is
Um,
Echo Marksman.
well, and so actually, I think that was gonna demonstrate the other problem, which is Echo
Mhm.
Marksman. I think if he had, 2 aims every round just magically appear, he'd make good use of them. I
Yeah.
mean, throwing 4 black, 2 red, critical 1, with a surge, pierce 1 at range 4, that's pretty solid. But where's
Yeah,
it coming from?
right, he's
Yeah.
-2 from the jump is the problem.
Yes. So
Yeah.
this is the thing I was going to bring up a conversation we had because mentioned it specifically. I said I said it and I was like Dave's going to like the way that I said this because
Yeah.
I know how David's brain works. But we were talking about this idea of being plus or minus on the
Yeah.
support that you need, and then clones is like a great example with this because clone they all share each other's tokens.
Yeah.
Um, so basically with Echo and with the Marksman, there's 2 aims that you're required. So if you think about imagine your entire army and you imagine, okay, with, we'll say reasonable effort, which is like that you're not investing some crazy amount of weird points into some weird tech and using all these weird actions, just
Mhm.
normal actions that you can and would do with your army. How many tokens would you generate? You say, well, maybe I got some arcs that are double moving in the first couple rounds. Okay, so you're generating maybe a couple aims per arc or whatever. And so you're getting so many aims, boop, 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 boop. And then maybe you got some other things and you're getting surges because your guys need surges because you're clones.
Mhm.
Okay, and now you think, okay, now who needs tokens? You think, oh, okay, well, my commandos need tokens because they have lethal. So however many tokens, right? -1 for each
Mhm.
commando, right? You say, oh, well, I've got arc troopers. Arc troopers are really squishy. They need surges to not get shot off the board, right? When your opponent shoots them. So, -1 surge that you need for each of your arcs, right? Now, Echo on a marksman, he's not generating any tokens.
No.
So I take that back. He's generating a surge.
Reliable one.
Reliable.
He's
Yeah.
generating a surge.
Yeah, which is
But
okay.
right, so great, he's giving you a token. But he needs an aim.
Mhm.
So even though he's a +1 in your token economy, he's also a -1 because he needs in your collective pool of tokens you have, he's a drag. So
Mhm.
so Echo comes out neutral. Because maybe he bars an aim from one of your arcs, but maybe he gives a surge to another one of your arcs. So you could say, okay, he's neutral. But the marksman is negative. He needs an aim and he doesn't give anything to anyone else. Not on his own, right? Now, again, you can always take an action for an aim or a dodge, but that's not additional economy that he's creating, right?
No, it's 1 for 1 action, 1
Right.
token.
Now, your
Right.
infantry, you're just your regular clone infantry, they're not even a 0, right? So I mean, 0 would be better, right? I'm not creating any
Mhm.
tokens, but I also don't need any tokens, right?
Right.
That would be a 0.
Right.
Your clone infantry are a +1. They just create a surge, and they don't need anything. I mean, they're your infantry, so they're your least important to spend surges on defense. You can if you want to, and you often do, but you don't need to, right? I mean, you can totally hold them and say these surges are for my arcs. Like you can do that if you
Mhm.
want. So that they don't like require tokens. And they just create one. They just create one without having to spend any actions. So whereas an infantry is a +1 on your overall token economy, a marksman unit is a -1. And so, like, looking at that on paper, like, I see that and I go, "Man, an infantry unit just seems so much more attractive to me."
Yeah.
If you work it out, you're like, "I'm gonna build around this," and you're like, "I'm gonna have a marksman squad, it's gonna be a super squad, it's gonna have echo, and I'm gonna invest such that I get something massive out of this." Maybe you can make it work, right? Maybe the
Mhm.
output can be big enough that you can invest appropriately and you get the thing that you're looking for.
Right.
But you got to do the work. You got to look at that plus or minus. How many tokens do I need to do what I need to do in guard? Do I have a surge for every one of my arcs? Do I have an aim for every one of my commandos that I have? Right? You go through at the end of the day, look at that marksman and go, okay, am I going to have 2 aims that I can generate for my Echo marksman unit that I can do like easily? Don't think, well, I can just take an aim action with my infantry. You might need those guys to double move onto points. You're going to be able to do that sometimes, but
Yeah.
you might need them to shoot to give a suppression for bringing them to heal. It's like, do you like have a way set aside that's like, I'm going to be generating the aims that I need to support this unit. And then if that's really what you want to do, figure out how to do that and then do it and then try it and be like, okay, I had to have this unit with this upgrades doing this thing every round to give me my aims, and this was the result. Was it worth it? And if it was, cool. If you're like, ugh, that was a lot of effort and he didn't really even kill that much, then you probably need something that doesn't suck up so much of the support.
Every competitive player at some level has a Jarvis style heads-up display behind their eyes. And that is exactly what is happening just about the entire time that we're playing, which is we are budgeting actions, we are budgeting movement, we are budgeting all that stuff. And that happens before the game and it happens during the game because we got to make the choices during the game. But I imagine that at some level, just about everyone who's competitive, who plays at like major tournaments, who goes to these things, at some level we have this like HUD behind our eyes that's like walking through this all the time. And that subroutine is running all the game. It's just on. Like that's how it works.
But mine is definitely pretty buggy sometimes.
Oh yeah, it's not a perfect system by any means. We're all human.
It's I think it's powered by AI because it hallucinates.
Oh, I know we have it's chat GPT.
Yeah, yeah. But mine's not Chat GPT. Mine's like Grok 1.0 or something.
Oh my god.
Mine creates false information.
It's gonna give you misinformation and
yeah.
It's gonna I could make some horrible joke, but I'm not going to.
One thing I like about what you were saying there, Nathan, is that there are ways to make things work the way you want them to. Like say you do want to get that big shot with that big unit, right? Then in looking at your economy and your tokens, you can be like, okay, so yeah, maybe commandos aren't the right go for me because I don't want to soak up so many more aims. I want these aims to be soaked over here. So what I'm going to do is I am going to probably load up a few more arcs, which when they're double moving onto points, if they're not using their aims, they allow me some aims, but I might use some barks or a naked ATRT or something like that to save myself some points so I can do the cool thing that I want to do and sacrifice a couple of commando units,
Yeah.
Those are the kinds of things you want to think about. It's like, okay, well, I really want to do this cool thing, but I'm losing out on this action economy, so maybe I need to switch up some of these other units so I can still do the cool thing.
They need to give. This is a hot take that I just came up with. Okay, but every time I hear this talk, I hear about clone infantry and clone list building, and I just constantly think to myself, man, if only vehicles were plugged into the token train like everybody else, I wouldn't have to worry about it. I could just make the choice. It'd be so easy.
It would be so OP.
But like this group of units cannot. This group cannot enter the clone token bath. They don't get any of the love because they're vehicles, and like I feel like that puts them in a second class of unit. I really do.
Oh, like barks and ATRTs?
I disagree.
That makes them. I know this is a hot take. This makes them almost in my mind. This is like a bias, right? Because this might not be true in practice. Okay, this is a bias. It makes them second class units underneath this umbrella of token sharing, which is a complete. I know that's. I'm gonna get so much heat for this.
Yeah.
Well, it's like, what are you talking about?
You only get
now, Brian.
No.
Yeah.
And it's like I just want to say F your empiricism.
Oh my!
Yeah, I know. It's getting late.
My.
Yeah,
when the salt comes out.
Yeah, I just think I think that that with clone list building, you've only got so many tokens to go somewhere. Like exactly what we're saying. And so
Oh, yeah.
sometimes the barks, or sometimes you have a list that really wants to sit and shoot, and so you need the speed. And so because commandos aren't going to give you that speed, so you
No,
need the barks.
I know
Right?
as a practical matter, I
Yeah.
need to take these second class units.
And second class.
I
Oh
know.
my gosh. Okay.
Okay,
Let, let,
gosh,
let me plug this into our conversation.
I was interacting with Mike on TLD today, so I'm infected now.
You're infected by my. I can't wait for him to listen to
I'm
that.
infected by his cynicism.
Oh boy. Throwing shade at other casts.
Of course.
Infected. Okay, let me plug this into our conversation. Let me attempt to make your crying relevant, David.
Woo!
Okay. So we were talking about things that give support.
Okay.
And things that require support. Again, requiring support is not inherently bad. Again, just to clarify, like we were saying, but you just got to make sure that what they're outputting is worth whatever the resources it requires. Okay. These are units, and we're talking in this context of clones, as an example. We talk about ATRTs and barks. They are not giving any support, but they also don't require support. Like, you don't need them to take the tokens. They can do their job without them. For naked barks, their job is to triple move onto my opponent's objective at the end of the round and neutralize their back point on shifting priorities when they weren't expecting me to. Or maybe they did see it coming, but the fact that my bark is able to do that meant they could dedicate one less unit to the middle, and then I got the middle. You know what I mean? That's a bark's job, and it does that, and then it dies, and that's okay because it's 59 points. I mean, I'll pay 59 points for a victory point, right?
Sure, totally.
ATRTs,
easy trade.
we were talking about those are like naked ATRTs.
Yeah.
They're 6 health, red saves, armor 2, and they got a nice little chip gun. Their job is to sit on an objective. It's bunker assault, and you're clearing out your one side really well. You need something to score your left side for at least a round. Your naked ATRTs go, and they sit there, and they get you that point for the round, and it takes your opponent an irritatingly long time to kill them for a 60-point unit, and they die, but then it was worth it.
And they hide stuff too.
Yeah, and you can hide stuff behind them.
Guess what? You know, peekaboo. I'm a 5 shotgun hiding behind this RT. You can't touch me.
Yeah, I think they're great because they're in that middle camp of I have a job to do and I'm going to do it, and I'm not going to, other than again the niche situation where you're hiding someone like you just mentioned. That's sort of, but that's a little bit niche, right?
It's niche,
you're not necessarily counting on that. Mostly, they're not going to really help anybody else do their job.
You know what a great unit for this is too? The ISP.
Oh yeah, ISP.
ISP is
right.
100% a fully independent entity. It needs zero help. It just does where it goes where it goes, and it beams things, and it missiles things. And it needs zero. It doesn't have to interact with the army at all to be good.
Right, yeah.
You know?
It just does what it's gonna do, and it doesn't need any help from everyone. And those units are great. When you're factoring in that calculus, they're a 0, right? So they don't.
Yeah.
You know, they're not a drag on your.
Yeah, they have hit surge native. They have armor 3. You know, they don't need anything from the army, and they give what they give to the army is, you know, a stumbling block for the opponent. Yeah.
Right. So I think these units are excellent to slot in Gar. Again, like you go to commandos. Commandos often need some support. Like it's really tempting to take like Yoda, for example, because he can give them all orders. You need people that, a lot of times you want ways to generate aims for them. Their output is a lot greater. You're going to do things with commandos that are much greater than what you're going to do with a naked ATRT, but they need support. So you have to budget it in, right? ATRTs, if you're already maxed out, this goes back to what Brian was saying. If I've got a list and I've got, I've kind of built this concept around a marksman with a full squad with Echo. So I'm going to chuck 9 black dice with a surge and critical 1 and pierce at you. Okay. It's like, that's pretty good. Maybe there's something there. Like you might be able to build a combo around that feels pretty good, but it's going to require support. And so you're only going to have so many aims. Like what Brian was saying, you're only going to have so many to go around without completely wrecking your list. And so you probably are not going to have room for your commandos because they require resources that you're not going to have to go around. So you go with the naked ATRT because it doesn't require anything.
If only there was a unit that gave me perfect order control and printed 6 tokens at the drop of a hat.
It does that once, though.
I know it does. It really does that once on a practical level.
200 points. I mean,
he's
Yoda's
200 points,
awesome, right?
But it's still like a fountain. It's a really nice thing.
Yeah.
But I get what you're saying. Is like in terms of building a combo around it, was like that was my obvious thought. Was like, okay, who's the most free about generating these tokens that this marksman wants? And the answer is Yoda. Like just 100%.
And if you're investing all that points in the marksman, you want to be able to shoot the full thing with Pierce at range for more than one time.
Yeah, more than once.
Now, in many games, maybe in practice, it's going to happen that you will only shoot round 4 once and then the rest of your shots at round 3. But you want to have the option if you're spending all those points. You want to be able to have the power to say the whole game, or at least for on a few key rounds, if you enter anywhere in this zone, I'm going to nuke you. Right?
Yeah,
you want to have that option alive for you.
I will drop a train on you.
Right. Yeah. You don't want to only have that power the turn you happen to play Luminous Beams, right? Otherwise, it loses a lot of its potency.
That's what Bad Batch is for. Bad Batch can drop a train anytime they want.
Right. Again, Bad Batch does not need any support. They don't do anything for anyone else.
No.
But they don't need any help. They just they do what they do.
So talking about units that don't need any help, and we've been talking about Gar a lot, and we've done some Rebels and we've done some Empire. What about CIS? Like,
how about them Aquas?
Well, so Sunfac is one of those guys that doesn't need a lot of support and just goes and does his thing, causes a lot of problems.
Yeah, he's cheap.
Direct Geonosian Warriors is like a massive economy boost already.
Yeah.
Apart from being able to move 3 times if he wants.
Yeah, he's got retinue Poggle, but you don't need Poggle. You don't doesn't need his tokens to feel good.
I get what they were going for, guys, but it was probably not a good idea to give a spammable core unit blast in certain situations. Probably not a great idea. Like Death from Above is particularly egregious these days because it's easy to get. And it's also blast is just super strong generally.
You know what's really good at taking out geos?
What's that?
ATRTs with flamers.
With flamers, yeah.
There you go. Another plug for the ATRT.
Yeah, another ATRT.
No, we don't have to go back to ATRTs.
It's okay. I get it. You're in love with a Gar ATRT. I get it.
It's really good. I would take that in like every faction if I could.
There's
a very good unit, yeah.
It's disgusting.
Yeah.
So in terms of people that do their own thing, have you guys played around with Hondo at all?
Not yet. I haven't looked at him seriously.
Hondo. What's been your experience, Brian?
Yeah, I have not played around with him. I have theory crafted a lot.
Okay.
What are your thoughts? Where's kind of your intuition on how he slots in all this?
So he's definitely a guy that kind of does his own thing, but I feel like he naturally slots into CIS better than anywhere else. Because you can reverse your order. Staps are becoming pretty hot right now. I think Staps have improved a lot. Not hot, but they've improved. Okay, I like Staps.
They're higher than they were in terms of people's estimation of them for sure.
I want to say that here at Winter Moon, we were hyping up Staps since Worlds.
We were.
Yes. So no, I would be like, oh, Staps are good now. We've been saying it for months.
Staps are actually just fine, and they are actually quite good in the right circumstances. Yes.
You're terrifying.
I've been impressed with Staps since Worlds. Yeah. So so you get Staps because you get helps with your order control. You got your I've got 6 B1s. 4 of them have the super squads.
Okay.
With rad cannons.
Rad.
Because of course you do.
Right. And then we have a couple of other B1s without the heavies. Or do they have? I can't remember. But then we've got 6 B1s, 4 of them with super squads and rad cannons. We've got triple Staps. One of them has an HQ. and the other 2 have link targeting array. And then you got Asajj, you got Poggle, and you got what's his name? You got Hondo, and Hondo has 2 grenades. He's got prepared supplies, and you run around like a madman because you have order control on everything else. Poggle has your improvised orders. Poggle gives you an additional 4 pip. You play standing orders most of the time, and
give him the 4.
Yeah, I see it working.
and then when things get tight around 3-4, you play Poggle's 4 pip, and you're still getting all the benefits for
The faction that's so balanced it doesn't even need a command hand to win.
What's did you say it's got Asajj? Did you say
Yeah.
that? What's your build on her?
Let me pull it up now. He asking me all these questions.
Well, it's obviously
Has to have force push.
it's obviously
So I
divulge
refuse
3.
to touch it.
Yeah,
Refuse to touch it if it doesn't have force push.
he's gonna divulge the 3 obviously because it gives him Akashi because that's why you take her.
Yeah,
It's probably burst, right?
I will remind people though, bounty on a force user is not bad if they don't have immune pierce across the table.
That's true.
I mean, a lot of times I will take it even if they don't have immune pierce just for the demoralize because that's
Mhm.
disgusting.
Demoralize is
bounty
good.
on Asajj is really good,
yeah.
especially if they've got Hondo.
All right, so
one shot.
I've got Poggle with improvise. Asajj has burst and into the fray, and I have 1 naked B1. The other B1 has a rocket just for added
a token rocket. Yeah,
Okay.
just a token rocket. And then Hondo also, so he has prepared supplies. He has impact grenades, frag grenades, and comms jammer.
Okay, so when he has his full arsenal 4, what's his full pool?
So you actually can't get the full pool because actually no, you can get the full pool. Never mind. If you're at range 1, you can get the full pool. So his full pool would be 7 black, a red, and a white.
With surge crit?
Yeah.
That's not, and what probably and like impact 4 or something.
Yeah, impact 4. Yeah.
See, 7 black, a red, and a white. That's fascinating. So that is a little under 6 average hits.
Yeah.
This is him at range 1 using blaster and weak wake hunting together.
Yeah.
Plus 2 grenades.
Yeah.
Frag grenade to give him crit surge.
Yeah. And he's got uncanny luck 4, so he's basically rolling red defense.
And he has 4 dodges. Independent
dodge 4.
And he's nimble.
Independent dodge 4.
Yeah, he does. So good luck.
And he also has reliable 4, so he's got 4 surge tokens. So he surges to defense. And you don't need to use those surges on offense because he's got frag grenades.
He's got nimble. I just haven't looked at his card enough. He's got nimble. This is so stupid.
And he has disengaged. So you just run him into something and like run him into Bad Batch, and Bad Batch is like, crap, we can't kill this guy. Let's get off him. And you're like, cool. I'm gonna throw all of this damage into something, and then I'm gonna walk back into you.
Right, and I'll grab your tokens too.
Yeah.
What the heck? Oh yeah, because he's got a card that steals tokens.
Yeah, he's got the 2 pip, that's just good business. Yeah.
If you were on Bad Batch,
yeah,
you basically stick to their Bad Batch like glue, and you're like, I dare you to spend tokens or try.
Yeah, it's
so stupid.
And so the idea is like, you're like, oh shoot, like I've got all this poisons for anybody that's just running red saves or whatever. You've got decent armor because of the staffs, and then Asajj is an armor killer, and then you got Hondo, who is now an armor killer.
Yeah.
Here's what's gonna happen, Brian. You're gonna play this. You and I are gonna play. I'm gonna take my Storm Super Squad that has 5 aims. I'm gonna shoot Hondo. I'm going to get 10 hits. You're going to spend your 4 dodges. You're going to roll your 6 white dice. You're going to roll all blanks. And then you're going to uncanny luck and re-roll 4 of them again. And you're going to blank again.
Yeah.
That's
how this is going to go.
Squash him like a bug in 1 turn.
That's so funny.
Yeah. No, he'll already be in melee.
We'll have to do a little. I'll have to do a little video for Winter Moon. Like, is Hondo a serious competitive choice? Well, according to Brian Bear.
This needs to be our next exhibition game.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Come
next
on. We need to see.
exhibition
I
game
want to
is
see Hondo go. Like, let's
Max
do this.
Hondo. How many
Let's do this.
activations again?
It's 12, I think.
Of course it is, because it's CIS.
Yeah, it's 12.
Okay. I really wish Asajj had force push. I would be allowed to play it if it had that.
Asajj is a bullet. You don't want push on her. She's a bullet, man.
Yeah, like
I think
do what Colin did to me.
So you don't
LVO.
have to have push on her, but if you put push on her, she's totally viable as less of a bullet and more of a focus piece that can also just kill things with immune pierce.
Well, force push makes her the best bullet because it's effectively disengage.
Yeah,
like that's something that she doesn't have is disengage.
Yeah,
because if you do run her as a bullet, she just gets, even with Makashi, she still has a rough time with things like Magna Guard, for example, or now like this new droid, this new custom agent, like with the spear, or really what you're more worried about if someone, I just have like two Ewoks left in a unit and I just run them in a Asajj, and now she's like, ugh.
Yeah, now I gotta chop these Ewoks instead of chopping what I want to chop.
Right.
Yeah.
Frankly, even a full unit of Ewoks, if they hit Asajj, it's like my 35-point unit. Woohoo!
Yeah,
like,
woohoo.
But that's the thing though, is that it's got 12 acts and you got perfect order control. So you can pick and choose when you're going to go with her. So you can go with her pretty late and
that
do
valid.
what you want to do.
Perfect. The bullet version of Asajj is perfectly valid. I think the force push version is underrated. People are actually so good as a bullet. She's actually still works very well. Sort of the same thing as Ahsoka, right? She's just so cheap.
Oh yeah.
Like, she's like a full on regular, and she got a free recover. She's like a full on regular force user. But she's 175. Oh, and she can get Pierce 1 against my opponents. It's like, oh, and she's got demoralized too.
Yeah,
fantastic. Just value town.
Yeah,
I want to see this Hondo build.
I know, like I was just like talking about like list building and gimmicks. I was like, I just want to see, can I make a list that feels not terrible when I play standing orders every round? And yeah, I think I could do it with this one.
Yeah, I believe
honestly is pretty funny. I would be interested to see it. Well, and to again to sort of tie it all together and point out some serious aspects to what you're doing. Like, it sounds like a joke list and kind of is, but this is also, listen, if you guys have not played against Brian or talked lists with him, this is how he works. He has some idea and he's like, this is this crazy thing. It's just a joke. It's gonna be bad. But then 20 games later, he's like, oh no, this is actually really good. I fine-tuned the concept, and then he plays against you, and then you have nightmares for 3 weeks. So this is how it works, right? You start with the gimmick, anyway, I was gonna tie it back. We talked a lot about Republic, and we talked a lot about tokens, because it's like an easy way to see this. There's more than one way of supporting something, and this, even though it's really weird, this is an example. A big one is like order control, and so Asajj and Hondo both, right? They benefit from being in the bag and not having orders. And so all these B1s and these STAPs, they're providing support for these units, right? This is a need that these units present to your list. They're saying, I need to be able to have order control without having a token. That's a big ask. Mm-hmm. And so you're building the rest of your army to provide the support that those operatives need to do what they do. And it's a big ask. Now, less of an ask in CIS because it's not too hard to get a bunch of orders to some B1s and some STAPs. But, right, so now at the end of the day, you got to go, okay, we've done that. Now we see, is the output worth all the support that went into it? And maybe something, right, he sees that. And then after trying it out, right, maybe there's something there if you tweak it. So the point of that being, this discussion we've had, don't just think about it as which of my units need tokens and which of my units are providing tokens, right? Think about all of the resources that
Right.
your units need to perform their tasks. If that's extra actions, if it's extra tokens, if it's orders, if it's not having orders, right? Think about what are the resources that these units require. See, is the rest of my army providing those resources? And is that reasonable? Is that a good enough outcome for all the input I have to put into
And
it?
the longer you play and the more you play, the faster this loop will accomplish. Because at first it's difficult because you have to like put it together and then test it. It's like, oh, that didn't work. You have to diagnose the problem and like, do the bug fixes or whatever, and then constantly come back and iterate. And that iterative loop gets faster the more experience you have doing the iteration. So it's a beautiful little cycle that we go through when we build lists.
Mhm.
And it often starts with something completely ridiculous, but it ends up in a we're constantly inventing Skynet. Okay. We're constantly, the list becomes self-aware and starts to kill things on its own. That's basically what happens.
Another thing
How
that's
you find
important.
something new. Go ahead.
Another thing that's important about reverse sorting your bag. That's I think going to be very important moving forward is slice comms.
Mm-hmm.
It's immune to slice
Yeah, we can
comms.
spend a minute or two on this for sure, but it is rankling me hard just to think about it.
I have a hard time. I have a hard time with slice comms.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I like playing big stuff, and slice comms discourages that so heavily.
Yeah, let me penalize you for playing a big unit that's important. I'm just gonna zap that token and say, you can't control this piece this turn. Good luck.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll see how prevalent it is.
I hope not.
The crappy part is that CIS is the most immune to it.
Right.
Like, send that token back. Oh, I've already reverse sorted my order pool, you fool.
Yeah.
Right.
It didn't do anything. It was super ineffective. But everybody else, Rebel, Shadow Collective, how can I play a 200-point mall if you're just going to throw his token back?
We'll all just be assimilated. We're all just going to be droid players.
Oh yeah, well yeah. This is the war against the machines. Okay.
Now my Ion Rebels rejoice.
We're all joining the resistance against the machines.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing. This is straight up. I'm going to make another Terminator allusion. Okay, we're all we're going to send John Connor back to nerf Aqua droids before they release.
Listen, if everyone's running slice com droids, I'm just running 6 MPL Rebels.
Yeah.
With extra dudes and then 3 Flamer RTs.
Because guess what? They're fine without Ion. They're just fine. Ion's just a bonus. Ion's just a big middle finger to the droid players that are like,
Right. It's like a reasonable unit.
It's like actually a fine unit on top of having Ion. It doesn't have to pay anything to have it. It's just a nice to have.
7 black and a white crit 1 at range 3.
So that's gonna blow up some B2s, B1s, etc.
Yep.
That'll castrate a unit of Stat Riders pretty quickly.
I hate that you use the word castrate, but okay.
Okay. Well, you know what I mean. Render them. Well, how else would you phrase it? Render them impotent? Like, I don't know. I mean,
There's a lot of other words.
It was a perfect metaphor.
There's a dictionary full of other words.
Oh, come on.
It was totally fine.
Yeah. All right, I'll find a different, not less violent metaphor. Okay.
Because it's getting late.
I know it's getting late. It's getting late. We should probably wrap the show up on that note. But gosh, what a note to end on. Okay.
Somebody's listening with their kids right now.
Especially your droids.
Dad, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Sorry if that's you.
No, I know. It's got to keep it family friendly.
That's right. But anyways,
at least
you just want to make sure you keep. Remember, there is no try. just do steers try.
There you go. Yeah. Don't just think about your crazy idea. Go do it.
Yeah, you can't play. You can play Legion in your head only so much. You have to like actually try things on the table and see what works and what doesn't.
You're not going to get the list perfect before you try playing it.
Mm-hmm.
So just go play it, even though it's not bad yet. Find the parts that work and find the parts that don't.
Yep.
Even though it's not good yet.
That's what he meant to say. We knew what he meant to say.
Oh, wait, yeah.
If you,
Like I said, it's too late. My brain.
I mean, I just take good lists and make them worse, and then
Well, yeah, I do that. That's not what everyone else should do.
No,
Don't do what I do.
Don't do that to yourself. Do as I say, not as I do.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. With that, we're gonna wrap it up. All right. Thanks, guys. It's been a pleasure. It was a hoot, and we learned a lot. I had fun. We'll see you all next time here at Winter Moon. Thanks for being a listener. Ciao.
See ya.